So since this is my first ever YouTube video, I decided I'm going to do a video of my best makeup tips and tricks. If you want to see how I created this eye look, just stick around. There's some really good tips and tricks that I included as well, just that some people would like to know, some questions I've been asked in previous videos. So if you want to see that, stick around, and I hope to see you by the end of this video. So I want to show you how I get the most pigmented eye looks. Okay, so my first tip would be to always do, especially if you're doing pigmented eye looks, is to do your eyes before you do your base. So the biggest tip I have to make sure that my eye looks are really pigmented is to use the same brand eyeshadow primer as eyeshadow palette, because a lot of the time they're made for each other. So I'm going to be using the Colourpop Bodyproof primer and this Colourpop Matte About You palette. So first, what I always do is I prime the eyes. And then I just let the primer sit for a little bit just so that it can set down. So now I'm going to go in with a really thin angled brush, the brand Spectrum. This is the A7. I'm going to go in with this dark blue shade. So with the darker shade, what I like to do is to map out where I would like the eyeliner. I'm just going to take the eyeshadow and just draw a thin line, extend it to pretty much how far I want to go. Here is my brow bone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the line over here. I'm going to basically meet this line to my brow bone. I'll stop about halfway. The best way to get the most symmetrical eye looks is to do them both at the same time. Add shadow where my pupil begins, so just about halfway through the lid. I'm just going to go in an upwards motion. So from this angle, what I like to do to fix the patchiness is to take some of that shadow but pat it in rather than rub it. Rubbing is usually for blending. Patting, I like to use a patting motion just because that helps with the pigmentation. Sigma E75. So now I'll go in with the shade above. And now I'm just going to go directly on top of this blue shade that I added. With this color we bring it out just a little bit further. Going in with another angled brush, but this is like a dense. You can see it's quite dense. I'm going to go in with this shade. Basically just repeat the same steps as what you did before. Just bringing it more forward each time. So going right on top, a little bit more forward. Now I'm going to go in with a small fluffy blending brush. This is the shade. We're not going to go over, we're going to just blend these colors. For this kind of look, do a little bit of a rounded effect. This is the Sigma E30. With the top shade, just go right over there just to get in all the creases. I like to lift my eyebrow like that. We're going to bring the shade all the way into there. Now what I'll do is I'll go and I'll repeat the steps again from darkest to light. But now my biggest tip with this is don't do it too many times, because believe it or not, eyeshadow can get cakey too. So I'm going to repeat this maybe once or twice, but not more than that. So what I like to do is I just spray a little bit of setting spray into a cap. Really thin angled brush. This is the Sigma E65, and I'm just going to dip it in, swab it on both sides to remove excess, and then I just dab it onto a cotton pad, just because you don't want too much setting spray on the brush, otherwise the setting spray will bleed into the eyeshadow and then it doesn't look that nice. It helps to get that sharp and defined edge. So what I like to do is just wipe the brush in between each time that I clean up, just so that I don't end up adding more shadow on where I'm trying to clean up. So now I'm just going to go in with a shimmery shade just to add some sparkle. The Colourpop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Tassel. We're going to take this into the blue. You can see there is some shimmer there, but I want it to be more. So what I'll do is I'll take my finger and I'll put the glitter right on my finger, and then I use my finger to add the shimmer, because that really brings the shimmer out. Now just to get rid of any of the fallout, I'll just go in with some micellar water on a cotton pad, and I'll just remove any fallout and be really careful to make sure that I don't touch the eyeshadow at all. So for my base, I like to go in with a skin tint first. I'm going to be using the Maybelline Superstay Sheglam Sun Sculpt Liquid Contour. This is the shade Golden Sun. Blend it out with the Morphe L100, and I'll just go right on top with any excess product just to help blend it out a bit more. And now for blush, this one you really don't want to use a lot because a little goes a long way. This is the Color Bloom blush in the shade Love Cake from Sheglam Spectrum B02. Now I'll go in with the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. Now going in with a beauty blender, I'm just going to blend this out. So just for a more long lasting makeup look, I like to set my blush and bronzer with a powder version, Colourpop matte bronzer in the shade Avila Beach, the Spectrum A32, this Revolution blush quad in this top shade, Sigma the F12. Now we're going to set the concealer, and I'm just going to use the Huda Easy Bake and Snatch. I'm going to be using the shades Cherry Blossom Cake and Cupcake. Just add a little bit of the shade Cupcake and then a little bit of the shade Cherry Blossom Cake, and then just on the back of my hand I just diffuse the powder just so that I don't add too much. And then I go directly on my under eye, going in with the Sigma F44, dust lightly over the rest of my face. And then some days if I want a really sculpted look, I'll go in with the Huda Easy Bake in the shade Sugar Cookie. This smells so divine, I could just eat it. Then I just get a little bit of this on the powder puff, and I'll just a nose contour. Going with half lashes. So my tip with half lashes is sometimes when I use half lashes, there's like the band will stick out in the middle, and if you don't like that, I will cut the lashes into 3 individual. And what I like to do is I like to double coat the ends of my lashes. So I'll coat the side first, start on the ends and bring the rest forward. While the mascara is still wet, I like to stick on my lashes, and I just add it right to the edge, and then I'll just go in and squeeze them. To line my lips, I'm just going in with a Morphe Soulmatte in the shade Quick Crush, and Wifey the shade Quick Crush, and I'm just going to line just the top, just these parts. Just right under here, and then going in with the shade Wifey just to blend out this darker liner. And now I'm going to go in with this Colourpop Ultra Matte Lip in the shade Double Dates, but I'm just going to put a tiny bit, just like this. This is the Sigma E55, and I'm just going to add that colour really sparsely all over my lips. And now for gloss, I'm going to go in with the Colourpop Ultra Glossy Lip. This is the shade Major Throwback. So this is the final look. Let me know if there's any other looks that I've done before that you want me to do a more in-depth tutorial like this one. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching this video. Let me know any other videos you'd like for me to create in the future, any other looks that you've seen from me in the past that you would like a more in-depth tutorial for. I would love to share that with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I hope to see you next time.